Okay, thank you so much for being here. All right, my goal is to, in a very short period of time, take us on a little journey. Because as what you've heard so far, you're like, okay, this organization works with teens. Somehow adults are being impacted. What's this purpose project thing? And yeah, what is it that we're doing that's unique? What's different? Well, let's get into that. So I want to share a couple of things. Go ahead and flip to the next slide real quick. You got the next one up there? There we go. Here's a quick overview, all right? 1, teens are suffering. 2, they need skilled mentors. 3, but we got a supply chain issue. How many times have we heard the word supply chain issue over the last year or so? I'm sick of it. I'm tired of it. But it's legitimate. We have an issue that nobody's really talking about, and it boggles my mind. And Catalyst has, 4, a scalable and effective solution to solve the issue, and we believe we can reach 10,000 students in the next 3 years, which may sound like a lot or may not sound like a lot, depending on where you're coming from. So let's dive into that. Okay, teens are suffering. What does that mean? Well, there's a lot of different things going on. The issues keep mounting, like a pile of rocks on somebody's back, right? It's issue after issue after issue. I'm not going to go through all these issues because you know the issues. How many of you have a teen? Raise your hand if you have a teen or know a teen. Okay. All right. There might be some life in your teen, but how many of you have stared into the eyes of another teen and seen hopelessness? Because I got to tell you, that's what we're seeing in this generation, right? There's a lot of books that have been written about what does it take to be happy? What does it take to find meaning, to find purpose? And at the end of it, when you put all these issues together, from their overexposure to social media, to the bullying, to the mental health issues, to the access to drugs, to the lack of mentors, to so forth and so on, to overcrowded schools, to not enough parents, they're alone. And we can summarize it in 3 simple ways, because it's the 3 simple ways that as adults, we're longing for connection as well. And it's identity, purpose, and belonging. At the core of it as humans, man, we just want to know who we are, why we're here, and where we fit in. I was too young to watch Cheers, but for those of you who grew up watching Cheers, you can at least resonate with the fact that what if there was a place where everybody knows my name, right? And they were always glad I came. Like that idea speaks to community. And for those of us who attended church all our lives, we hope at the highest, pinnacle of what church can be is that place where we feel seen, we know our purpose, we're in community. And yet 90% of teens today no longer attend church. So they're not getting it at church, they're not getting it at school. Where are they getting it? That's the problem, right? It's the simple 3 issues that we're not solving that lay a foundation for a young person's growth. Now, I can help them find a trade all day long. I can help them, put a Band-Aid on an issue that they currently have. But at the end of the day, if they don't know who they are in a deep way, why they're here, and where they fit in, there will be a rift. And that rift remains. So where does the young person turn to today in our society to get the answer to those 3 questions if they're not getting them anywhere else? Well, the short answer is like social media, where the average young person spends 3 hours a day. So we talk about the mental health issues of anxiety, stress, the attempted suicide rates, or the suicides among youth, all skyrocketing, to name a few. But just imagine it. You can get out your own phones. You can get on Instagram and just challenge yourself to spend 3 hours on just Instagram. Or TikTok. Maybe Snapchat if you're bold enough. And what's going to happen? It's going to be an unending game of look what they have, but I don't. Look what they are, but I'm not. Look where they fit in, but I don't. Look what. If you're a young person today and 3 hours of your day is spent with that subconscious, what do you think's going to happen? And guess what? Teens know it too. I've been in these rooms in so many different venues, and when you ask a teen, what are the biggest struggles they're faced with today? Social media is at the top of it. They're not negating the fact that they know it's not helping, but yet, what do we do about it? So, who exactly does this generation turn to for help? I got a thought here, right? I got a thought here. Since the art of mentorship and discipleship is almost dead, or at least on life support in our country, what do we do about that, right? If teens are looking to connect and they need a guide and there are no guides, it seems like, well, we need more guides, right? So here we are thinking about this, like we need really, in America, a fresh movement of mentoring. A fresh movement of mentoring, right, that really takes hold to where the average person can say to themselves, not why don't I mentor? It's like, why? Of course I mentor. Why shouldn't I mentor? Of course I mentor because I love mentoring. That's not the conversation that happens today, but what if we had a fresh movement around our nation that could connect students to identity, purpose, and belonging? And what if we could do it in a shorter period of time? Well, I want to introduce you to a concept, but first let's talk about it. Why are there no mentors? It seems obvious, right? It's like, okay, there should be, we need mentors. We need mentors. So where are all the mentors? Mentors are missing in action, but let me tell you first of all, let me tell you some of the stats on mentoring. Actually, we have these. Let's put these up. Students with a mentor are 55% less likely to skip school, more likely to volunteer, more likely to hold leadership positions, and more likely to mentor. Now, I want to key in on one stat here. 90% more likely to mentor. How do you create a movement? You've got to give something that creates a ripple effect. You've got to provide an experience that is almost like Tab and Ron were describing up here. You've got to provide an experience that awakens the soul, that awakens the heart, that awakens the mind to where someone says, I want to do this one day. What was just given for me, I want to give to somebody else. And so when mentoring occurs at any level, we create ripple effects. 90% more likely to become mentors and hold leadership positions, which is another way of saying mentoring. So then the question is, all right, we need more mentors. It's a no-brainer, okay? But mentors are missing in action. They are. And mentors are just MIA. So let's look at just Austin for a minute. There are 300,000 teens living in the Austin metro area, roughly. More than that, but I'm being conservative. 300,000. Now, if we add up every organization that offers mentoring for teens, that's your school districts, that's your Boys and Girls Club, Big Brothers, Big Sisters, you name it, all of us, we're reaching less than 1% of that 300,000. We're not even scratching the surface. Let's just sit in that for a minute. What's the answer? What are we gonna do? Right? It's like, for a moment, you almost start to experience the hopelessness for these teens, because it's just like, dude, I got nothing for you, and neither does the rest of the world. Figure it out on your own, is almost what we're saying without saying it. But yet, maybe there's a way. Go to the next slide for me. This to me, ladies and gentlemen, this to me is the question that I don't think we're talking about enough. Because we are busy creating programs and opportunities for teens left and right, yet in all that work, it's still barely penetrating the need. And so the idea is the real question is, why don't we mentor? Well, this isn't rocket science. Imagine somebody asking you to mentor. What's the first thing that comes to your mind? well, mentor who, right? If it's a teen, oh man, I can think of a lot of people I would mentor, but a teen, one of the most ungrateful creatures on the planet, this seems like a non-rewarding experience to begin with. But I'd love to, I just don't have time, right? Because the normal mentoring relationship is what? A year. When's the last time you committed to something for a year in our society, right? We don't have time for that. But honestly, what we've shown through the Purpose Project is we don't need a year. We need targeted conversations. I'll get to that in a minute. So people say they have no time, they have no training. If you've ever volunteered for a mentor organization to do mentoring, most of your training is going to consist of, hey, please don't touch the student. Here are all the things we can get sued for, so let's go over those. This is what grooming looks like. All important stuff. I'm not negating that, but it doesn't necessarily equip you to mentor. It's kind of like, hey, you're a warm body. They're in need. Y'all get together and just don't sell them drugs. Like, hang out with them. Like, that's the mentoring bar. So there's no time, there's no training, and most of us haven't been experienced in it ourselves. So it's hard to create this ripple effect when we don't experience it. So those are the real obstacles right there. So I'm going to introduce you to a concept we call the Purpose Project, all right? So what if the answer is sitting here in all these chairs? What if we are the answer? Because really, the answer isn't an organization. The answer isn't me. The answer isn't a better speaker, a better teacher. The answer is all of you. But what do you need? Think about it. What would it take for a group like all of us in this room to say yes to connecting with a teenager? What would that take? So we created the Purpose Project and said, all right, if mentoring is one-on-one mentoring is not scalable, we're never going to reach all the teens on the planet, what can we do? What if we had 6 key conversations with them? 6 key conversations that we felt like moved the needle the most in terms of giving them an idea of who they are, where they fit in, and why it matters. Identity, purpose, and belonging. What if we could do that? We called it the Purpose Project. And so we took it and we said, all right, we don't need a year from individuals. We need 6 hours. Now, most of us in this room could say, I could commit to something an hour a week for 6 weeks. And what if I told you it didn't even have to be in person? What if I told you that over half of our connections this year were on Zoom? You're like, okay, so I could do this from my pajamas in my living room. Yeah, you can. So now all of a sudden, time is being freed up. Now you can be trained on how to have 6 intentional conversations with a young person that speak to that void, that speaks to the areas that nobody's speaking to them in. Now can we get somewhere? I believe we can, and I believe we are. And so that is the Purpose Project. So let's drill in on why this works and why we're having success. We started this training about 18 months ago, right? We started with 0 mentors. Today we have close to 80. We'll end the year with close to 100. By this time next year, 200. In the next 18 months, we'll be one of the largest teen mentoring organizations in the state of Texas. And that's not to pat ourselves on the back. That just speaks to, oh my God, you could have 300 mentors and be the largest teen mentoring organization in the state. Yes. That's the void. That's the void right now, right? And so here's why it works. 1, little commitment, time commitment, because we don't need year-long relationships. We need targeted mentoring. Think of the people that came and gone in your life. The people that have given you financial wisdom and advice. They came for a season, gone. People that gave you career advice came for a season, gone. People that gave you, relationship advice or marriage counseling, they came in for a season, gone. That's mentoring. But yet, somehow in our culture, we think mentoring is like adoption, where we're like taking a kid in for life. Like, of course not many people are going to make that commitment. And that's not what mentoring is in the first place. Mentoring is taking a skill set you have and imparting it to somebody else. Problem is, we just don't have the vehicle or know how to do it. So here we are. We train you in these conversations. You have these targeted conversations, and you get to see in a short period of time movement. You get to see aha moments. You're giving a young person decades worth of self-awareness in a matter of hours. So you're thinking, well, this is cool. Why are we working? Why do I see adults on these posters? Why are we doing purpose projects with adults? I thought this is a teen organization. Again, we got to think differently, because you cannot reach teens without adults. And 30% of all adults who experience the purpose project, like Tab got up here and shared, 30% go on to become mentors, because it's something we all need. It's something we can all connect with. Right? There's something in us that we're saying we're not firing on all cylinders. We know there's more. We don't know what that more is. And we have these conversations and we find that more. And when we find that more, it inspires us to give what we've received to somebody else. So yeah, we're taking adults through the process of experiencing the Purpose Project. That's what we're doing. Now, some of the other things here, why does this work? Well, it costs a third of what it normally costs a normal organization to raise up a mentor. Why else does this work? Well, simply, we give the best training, I think, in the United States when it comes to mentors. You're going to go through our training, and you're going to be like, oh my God, I can have this conversation with anybody in my life, not just a teen, and you'll be right. You will. You will find yourself doing that. Why else does it work? Well, the average mentor with our organization is reaching 3 teens a year, not 1. And this is only the first phase of our organization. Imagine other phases where we have people can drop in and spend 3 one-hour sessions giving a kid advice on how to manage their money, 3 sessions on how to capture your thoughts and really like positive psychology, the mental side of success. Imagine we do 3 weeks on trauma-informed care that we help teens start to make sense of their past trauma, how it's impacting them, and what will happen next. See, the Purpose Project is only the beginning. But now we can equip people with targeted conversations to enter into a kid's life and move the needle faster. That's what we're building here. Our goal is to build the largest mentoring network in the nation and change the way people think about mentoring. That's what we're about here, and that's what we're doing. So you'll see other ways we're doing that. On the back table, you're going to see our curriculum that's now in schools, because now a teacher who might have 130 students they see in a day, we're equipping teachers on how to take the Purpose Project and have those talks in their schools. Crazy, right? And then connecting them to a mentor outside of school. No curriculum does that. Right? That you're going to see that on the back. You're going to see a lot of things. But I want to one more slide, I think, and I'm going to share with you a quick video. Teens who experience the Purpose Project, just simply, they're showing improvements in their mental health, more consistency in school attendance, departure from illegal activity, increased efforts toward exploring new activities, and more excitement about their future. Right? They're finding hope. Is the most simple way to put it. They're finding hope when they didn't have it. And they have a path. They have not just an understanding of who they're wired to be, but they have a practical plan on what to do next. That's what we're giving them. Now I got to tell you this, with most teens that we're working with, it's all over the board. It could be your valedictorian to your kid who's locked up for murder, everything in between, because the pain is everywhere. And I got to tell you, when you think about a teen, you think about how they're not going to just run up to you and give you a hug. They're not going to send you thank you notes and flowers for spending time with them. They're not going to give you all those warm and fuzzies. They're going to nod their head, and in their heart, in their mind, they're going to start to experience breakthrough. The hardest part about being a mentor is that you just don't know the impact you make till years later. And so with most of the students that we connect everybody with, you have to have a degree of faith. Know these conversations matter because they would have mattered to you as a teen, and know that, man, they're listening.